We are Native Americans here in Montrose, Iowa, restoring a relic of the Phoenician history, which is sailed from Carthage, Phoenicia to Miami, Florida, proving that cross-Atlantic trade of the Phoenicians was not only possible, but important in making them the richest empire of their time.
We give honor to the East, believing we came here across the great waters, the Big Salt, where the sun rises.
We have found thousands of stone relics and advanced metalworkings here in the heartland. But until today, we've been missing an important link on how our ancient ancestors could have come here.
We are a people that came here and were placed here, and we were made sacred covenants with Jesus Christ, our Creator. If we were good and if we were not warlike, we would be saved because we had a message to give to the world.
What a great common goal to come together under to rebuild a ship that is like unto the ship Nephi may have constructed 600 years before Christ came. Welcome in here on Zion Media, and I apologize for my hair and for my scripture study sweater. It's an early morning podcast. I had some people in from out of town. My friend Rob is in town with his daughter, who's actually Sister Hines. She's serving her mission in Texas. She broke her toe, so she's in town. So they were over here, and I didn't have time to get ready. And I'm so excited for today's podcast because we have Mike and Betty LaFontaine on. I've been dying to have them on the show. I'm so grateful they're coming on Zion Media now. They have an incredible story and journey. I'm joined by David the Lion Douglas, who he might have to drop off in about 30 minutes and go take care of some Babylonian business. And of course, we're joined by Drea the Bomb. But before we jump into the podcast, this is just a friendly reminder. If you're wanting to come to Mexico with us, there's still time to sign up. So go ahead, go to our site, zionstreaming.com, get your place reserved. You're not going to want to miss it. We have about 10 spots still open for you to come, and we would love to have you come with us. It is November 11th to November 19th, and we'd love to have you join us. Some people are like, hey, I can't go that long. I can only go for 6 days. We can accommodate, and we can make that work for you as well. Huge shout out and thank you to all of you who tune into Zion Media. I am getting about 400 text messages a day, and I'm still able to respond to every single person. And so I'm really grateful. I had, interestingly enough, I had a lady that was here in my home, and she watches Zion Media, and I had shared my number, and I'm going to do that again right here. My number, if you're feeling prompted, you need to reach out to me for whatever reason. You want to come on the podcast, or you're having a spiritual experience, or you just want to say, thank you, keep it going. My number is 801-675-1509. There it is right there, flashed up on the screen. Don't call me, just text me. I'm really good about getting back to you on text message. But this particular lady saw my number. She came in from Colorado. I had an amazing 5-hour meeting with her. She's having amazing spiritual experiences. She is feeling the day of the Lord is coming, and that we need to be prepared. And she just was so amazing. She's a very successful, very wealthy woman. And it's just like, whatever you need, I'm here to help you with. You just say the word. She was a big help in helping us with our Adam on Diamond event. She gave us a significant amount of money. And so she doesn't want me to mention her name. So shout out, you know who you are. Thank you so much for helping us and helping further the mission here on Zion Media. And understand our goal, our mission here is to create content that inspires you to understand that, yes, Zion's real. Yes, the New Jerusalem is here, but as we build Zion, we first must build Zion here and here in our homes, and then Zion can be built in our communities. So let's do all we can to let virtue garnish our thoughts unceasingly, so Zion can be built in our minds, which causes it to be built in our hearts, which causes it to be built in our lives. Okay, without further ado, welcome to the show, Mike and Betty LaFontaine. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and we're going to jump in to the amazing projects that they're involved in.
Yate, yate,
Hello.
yate. Betty LaFontaine, Yanchka, is other that Nasha, Lashi, Nashle, Ashi Hipashin, without a son, the Nashle. I just introduced myself by introducing my clan, my mother's clan, which is the Clay Bottom People's Clan, and I'm born for the Salt Clan, which is my father's. So this normally is an introduction of a Navajo or Dene woman. So, hello, Yate.
I'm Mike LaFontaine. I am from the Ojibwa tribe, Belcourt, North Dakota, also known as the Turtle Mountain tribe of Chippewas. I am what you call an urban Indian. So I don't know my language. Our language has a lot of French in it. My people grew up on the reservation in Belcourt and left the reservation early on and moved to the cities to find jobs. So we were urban Indians, and my wife, of course, grew up on the reservation. And we met in high school in Spanish Fork, Utah. My parents moved out west. She was there on placement, and we met at a seminary gathering, and we were playing volleyball.
Oh,
And
no.
she had her long black hair, and she was actually pretty good at volleyball. So I says, "Okay, well, let's check this out."
Um, yeah, I grew up on a yeah, I grew up on a Navajo reservation, um, both traditionally and LDS, and it was a balance in my life that to this day I'm glad we balanced it that way, because we believe in a creator, and the creator happens to be Jesus Christ, and we just you know I love the church, and I grew up partly there and partly in Navajo way. My parents were converted. Gee, I can't even remember when, but when my mom passed away, my sister was doing some cleaning out of her stuff and found her baptism record, and started reading the baptism record and who she was baptized who she was baptized by. She was really shocked. She called me and our other siblings, and she says our mother was baptized by what's his name, dear? I forgot again.
LeGrand Richards.
LeGrand Richards. Can you believe that?
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, right. And she was baptized in it. I believe he was happened to be traveling with Spencer W. Kimball and doing missionary work. And they just brought a bunch of Navajos together at the stake building in Gallup and baptized them. And she was one of them.
Amazing. Amazing. And Mike, did you grow up in the church as well?
I did. I did grow up in the church here in Florida. I grew up in Florida here.
Well, let's jump in and let's talk a little bit about your projects that you've been going. I want to show a quick clip.
Hi, this is my wife, Betty Redant.
Yate.
I'm Mike LaFontaine. We are Native Americans here in Montrose, Iowa, restoring a relic of the Phoenician history, which is sailed from Carthage, Phoenicia to Miami, Florida, proving that cross-Atlantic trade of the Phoenicians was not only possible, but important in making them the richest empire of their time and having great influence even here in the Mississippi River.
To understand the real history of ancient America, how various groups colonize the promised land in our native history, we give honor to the east, believing we came here across the great waters, the big salt, where the sun rises.
We have found thousands of stone relics and advanced metalworkings here in the heartland. But until today, we've been missing an important link on how our ancient ancestors could have come here. Betty and I have recently made changes in our lives to help accommodate and acquire the Phoenician ship, which has landed in Miami, Florida, then begin her restoration as a living proof that the people in the Mediterranean had influence in ancient America. We would like to invite you to Montrose for a day or two to help us preserve and restore the Phoenicia. There is something for everyone to do, and really every bit of your service is appreciated at the workshop.
If you are not coming to the Nauvoo region this summer, we'd love for you to help us with the restoration by donating to this project. You can donate in various ways. As our warmest thank you, we will send you something special from our Phoenician gift shop at the restoration site.
With your help, the Phoenicia can stand one more time, where you and your family can visit her and to touch her.
And feel the spirit that inspired the people of the Mediterranean to find riches and refuge in this promised land. If this message resonates with you, please come visit us at our wonderful Phoenician Ship Museum.
That's cool. Okay, so tell us a little bit about where the project is right now. It sounds like it's in Montrose. And how far along and what help do you still need in restoring the Phoenicia?
So, but we've been there for 4 years working on it. We're part of the Heartland Research Group, which also includes research in the United States Heartland area to help accommodate and prove the Book of Mormon and the veracity of the Book of Mormon. And that's what this ship does too. It proves the veracity that there could have been ancient sea travel, because the Phoenicia is a 600 BC Phoenician ship replica from Jules Verne 7 that actually was discovered in France, and Philip Bill, who was the captain of the ship and the explorer and the entrepreneur to have this thing built and selling it around Africa and then over to America. So the Heartland Research Group with its president, John Lefgren, that's where it's at now. We are currently we have moved the ship into a different nonprofit organization called the Phoenicia Ship Museum. And that is moving to Utah the 1st of November. Actually, we're going to up there to Montrose and taking it apart and putting in the containers and shipping it back, or shipping it to Utah.
Welcome to the Phoenicia.
Good evening. This is Mike and Betty from Montrose, Iowa, from the Phoenicia Ship Restoration Center in Montrose, Iowa, poised to make a historic move to Utah.
Wow. Do you have a site yet that you've identified in Utah of where you're going to do this? And then are you going to reconstruct it here in Utah?
We don't have a site yet, but we have a place to store it until we get a site. And yes, and the plans are to reconstruct and put it back together and involve the community there in the Utah area and the western states. And you know what's so fascinating? When we started the project, the initial people to first volunteer were from Utah. And they kept coming from Utah, Arizona, from the western states. Every summer, they come out here on their own dime, and help put this ship together. So where it is now is how these volunteers have been so kind and
Helpful.
in helping us put the ship together. And we saw that that was happening. There's local people in Montrose, but you know the area around Nauvoo and in that area, David, I think. And the traffic that goes through there is not much. I mean, there are not a whole lot of members there, but the community supported it for a little while by coming and visiting and involving, strangers off the road, truck drivers driving by every day saw what was going on and they stopped and they started volunteering. So it's an amazing thing. It draws people because the story behind it and how it started and how it got here. So Montrose is kind of literally in the middle of nowhere. So the traffic being, people coming by, there was very little. But to make long story short, the people from west were coming to the ship. And so he's like, well, we need to move the ship out there. Mike is the one that caught the vision of moving the ship. I'm just a follow along. That's what I am.
No, you're not.
So then and we're sending out a bat signal here. So what would be an ideal facility for the reconstruction? If somebody's out there and they're like, you know what, I have this kind of a facility, what would be an ideal facility to be able to put this so that a reconstruction can even happen, so that we can see if there's anybody out there that's like, hey, I know somebody, or hey, I have something that I can help you guys with?
Well, currently it's in a building that's 6,400 square feet, and it's got like 20-foot ceilings in it. We're looking for something similar to that, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe 8,000 square feet with 20-foot ceilings. And it just needs to be flat. I mean, just a warehouse is all.
Open area,
some bathrooms, of course. And that's all we need. This ship was cut into sections, 6 feet by 6 feet. And it takes about 40, 50 hours to prep a piece and put it together. So the ship was put together with the intent of taking it back apart again, because we can literally, it's like a ship in a bottle. We can take that ship and move it through the front door of your house, each piece, and put it together in your living room if your living room was big enough. So
Wow.
it's designed that way. It's huge looking, but it comes apart unbelievably easily.
And so what would be once is it just for people to come and see? So once it's reconstructed, is it just a piece for people to be able to come and see it and touch it and feel it because it's done that journey? Or is there a bigger idea in mind that it's going to see the sea again?
She won't float again. But yeah, whenever we have her totally reconstructed, we'll be able to show down inside the hull where they had amphores and olive jars full of olive oil and wine and everything that they traded, cedar of Lebanon, everything they traded in the Mediterranean. That's what the Phoenicians were. They were entrepreneurs and they traded. They weren't necessarily a civilization somewhere where they had a headquarters. The Phoenicians would conquer by commerce. So they would be all through the Mediterranean and say, hey, if you want to join us, this is what you need to do. They did have a kind of a stomping ground in Carthage, Tunisia, which was huge. And that's where, if you wanted to say, the main empire was. And that's where Roland came and destroyed Phoenicia and destroyed the museums and destroyed the library there. And he lost everything. I mean, because you know that our alphabet comes from the Phoenicians. The color purple they developed with the Phoenicians. Blown glass came from the Phoenicians. A lot navigating by stars. They were the ones that found the North Star and navigated. They would not have to stay near the coast. They could venture out, and that was the big thing about the Phoenicia. How it was able to sail across the oceans. You know, how it came over to America. How the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, with all the millions and millions of tons of copper, went somewhere, possibly throughout the world. And that's another research that we're doing, is some of this ancient copper that's found in Europe came from America, and we're working on that on a molecular schedule level right now, and it's really interesting.
So when I look at the boat, the Phoenicia, could I say that it might be like unto the boat that maybe Nephi could have constructed, and was that kind of the idea? Now, the guy that originally put this together, he wasn't trying to do, he didn't even know what the Book of Mormon was, right? How did this thing originate?
Philip Bill, he was the captain and originator.
He's a British officer. He worked in the Royal Navy, and his interests were expeditions and ships, and I guess he'd always been, that was his dream, to find things like this. And when he found out about that ship that was uncovered in Marseille called the Jules Verne 7, he made an effort to be there and to see what he could do to reconstruct that kind of ship that the Phoenicians built. It was the archaeologists were called in, and they found that ship was a Phoenician ship. And so it was always his dream to do something at this magnitude, and he did. And this is the Phoenicia. This is the replica that he had built in Syria, and he sailed it around Africa and sold it to America. When we heard about the ship and it's landing to America,
Coming to America,
it actually came to Miami, right?
Yeah.
But we met it in Fort Lauderdale. Mike and I wanted to be the friendly Indians meeting the ship. So we made an effort, and we went down there and we did meet that ship. And I'm telling you what, David, Shane, I'm sorry.
And David. And Andrea. They're all there.
The feeling and the spirit that we felt when we met this ship was totally amazing. A Native American, and I know there's a lot of Native Americans out there that probably listen to your podcasts. We were taught as in our stories and our legends and so forth, that the east direction is a very important direction, because that's the direction that the Creator came and the Creator left.
And
Also,
come again.
and will come again. And
The angel from the east. So yeah, the scriptures talk about this.
From the rising sun, our prayers are done in that direction. We're not praying to the sun, but that mistake people we're praying to the sun. But we're not really praying to the sun. We are praying to the Father in name of the Son of God.
Amen.
So that sun rising is sort of like a symbol of that. And so when we also were taught that we came from that same direction, from the east, on what we called Sinaeth. Sinaeth in Navajo means wood that floats.
Wow.
And here is a humongous ship made of wood that floats to America. When I saw that ship and felt that spirit of that ship, I knew that it was an important part of the stories that we have been told and shared with, and for so many years and our ancestors told this story. And there are different stories, but this one particular stood out to me about this ship because of what my grandfather, who was a medicine man, would tell us. We came from the east. So not if that we came across the waters, the great waters, the big salt on wood that floats. So I made an instant connection with this ship myself, not only because of that, but also because of the teachings of Scripture, and that we are a people that came here and were placed here, and we were put under covenant. We were made sacred covenants with Jesus Christ, our Creator, and that if we were good and if we were not warlike, we would be saved because we had a message to give to the world. And that right there, that connection I made was instant. So we did a lot of things. We sacrificed a lot of things in our lives. Mike and I, we moved, we rearranged our lives. And the Heartland Research Group, which we are part of, John Lefgren has been a big part of this whole thing. We got together with him and we decided that we were gonna get this ship. How we were gonna do it, we didn't know, but the Lord made it. He made it possible because we have the ship now. The story's not done. The story must continue. Lehi, yes, he made his way to here with his family, to the promised land. This ship made it to the promised land by a captain who had no idea of the story of the Book of Mormon, Lehi and his family, or the Jaredites, or any of that. He had no idea. Went around Africa, came here, Mulekites, sorry. And, it's just, it all fits like a big piece of puzzles. Puzzles are fitting together.
Yeah.
And so we want others to hear this story. We want them to touch the ship and feel the spirit of the ship, because I have. As we walked around the shipyard when the ship was went through a storm, and I'll have Mike tell you about that. I walked around that shipyard. They were taking it apart and putting it in containers to ship it back to England. We visited the ship again, and it was in the shipyard. It was all messed up. I walked around the ship. I mean, it was bad. Walked around the ship in the shipyard, and I looked down, and I see the head, the horse head of the ship laying there on the ground. And I looked down at her and I touched her. And she said to me, "I'm still alive. I have a story." And that's all it took. I said, "We need the ship. We gotta get the ship." So, yeah.
And so you guys have had the ship for how many years now? About 4 years?
4 years, yeah.
4 years. And now you're saying we need to move it out to Utah. And we want it to be out there, get reconstructed out there. And the goal is so that people that maybe people are coming to Utah from around the world. And let me just remind you that in 9 years' time, all nations will be gathered to Utah for the Olympics.
Exactly.
So it'd be really awesome to have this being in a situation and in a place where people could come and see it and feel of what Betty's talking about. And there is something with wood. I have this desk right here, and I literally went and pulled it out of storage because this wood is so happy. It's done lots of work, and it's fulfilling the measure of its creation, and we can feel that energy. And I'm sure there's a really powerful energy in that ship that traveled those seas. And it'd be really, I'm like, I want to get this done. I want to see this thing built, and I want to go and feel that energy that ship contains. And what a great thing for us to look at, for those who believe in the Book of Mormon, go like, oh, this is likely what Nephi was what he built, and may even be the direction he came from, and may even be kind of where he landed, and all of those things that we could think about happening. So once you get it out here, is the idea that you want it to be in a place where people could come and see it?
Definitely. I mean, we're kind of, it's still being restored, so we can be in a warehouse anywhere, and continues working on it. But the warehouse would be also transformed into a museum. It would be the Phoenician Ship Museum, because we have other artifacts, we have videos, we have all types of things that we can be doing to invite the public in, to have school kids coming in, church groups coming in, communities, colleges, what have you, to see and touch and work and learn about this particular ship. When she was in 2008, when she sailed around Africa, she came through the Suez Canal, and then she went over to Oman, and you're familiar with the Oman area.
That's that green, super green area.
Yes. Yeah. It's like most people in the church, scholars or non-scholars, kind of believe that's probably about where they would have taken off from. So why he picked coming through the Suez Canal and going over to Oman, I have no idea. Why didn't he just go down south and go around Africa like he was planning to? But he went to Oman, and then they sailed down Africa and came around Africa, and you can see this on the video. And then as they turned around Africa and started up the coast, and they're going back into the Mediterranean. That's their route. That's what they're doing. They're circumnavigating around Africa, trying to prove Herodotus' story of King Necho, or the Pharaoh of Egypt at that time, Necho II, who wanted to see if they could go, if you can circumnavigate around Africa. It was just random. So that's what his trip was. But as they came around Africa and coming up the east coast, the winds and the currents pushed them within 600 miles of the Americas. And he literally had to continue fighting and steering the ship to go back into the Mediterranean. Just amazing on how the same trip with the Nephi would have came around and that same thing would have happened. I mean, Philip Bill says the ships go where the wind and currents go. These ancient ships, they don't have a keel on them. They can't tack against the wind. They pretty much can steer here and there, but they go where the winds and the currents go. And that's where the winds and currents went. Brought them right from Africa right over into America. And then the second trip was out of the Mediterranean, came out of Tunisia, actually, Carthage. That was one of the main areas for the Phoenicians, and they came out to the Canary Islands, pretty much the same area and the route that Christopher Columbus took, and then over to San Domingo. Took them 39 days. That same trip took Columbus 38 days. So they landed in the same place one day later. Philip Bill told me, he says, you get on the Canary Islands, which is off the east coast of Africa. You're in the Canary Islands and you throw a stick in the ocean. He says that stick shows up in American. Shows up somewhere.
Wow.
American. You don't even have to try. You can get on an inner tube and be in America.
It's just going to take you that way.
That's the natural route. Yeah.
So the guy that built the ship, what's his story? What's he doing now? Do you know much about him?
Yeah, Philip Bill, he does high adventures. Tourist things around the world. He's still around. He's still involved with us. He's an alternate board member of the group. We still consult with him. He's aware of what's going on. He's very supportive. Whenever we find a spot for it and we start putting it together and have a grand opening, I'm sure he will be there.
Awesome. And how quickly? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you can go on our website and find these 2 books. Around Africa, he talks about Africa and his sailing to America.
Amazing. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Now, how quickly are you looking to get it out to Utah? Just as soon as you find a spot?
Good question. We are actually going up to Montrose the 1st of November. So we'll be there the 3rd through the 7th. We have people coming in from all over the country to help us take the ship apart. And along with all of the shop and the museum, the tent and stuff like that, we got 2 containers there. We're putting in the containers and we're shipping it to Utah. So anybody who is interested or wants to come out and participate, we will put you in a housing.
Oh, that's cool.
And then, of course, Betty and her group, unbelievable cooks, she will be feeding us.
I'll be making you some Navajo fry bread, okay?
Navajo tacos.
Shoot, sign me up. That's my favorite. Fried dough, fried Navajo. That you're talking my language, Miss Betty.
Yeah.
So if people wanted to sign up, is there a way that they can reach out to you? Is there a website or somewhere they can go?
Yeah, they can go to Phoenicia.rocks. And there's a volunteer area where you can sign up. And then, of course, if you want to, you can text me. You can put my number on there too, Shane, which is pretty brave. But my phone number, you can text me and tell me you're interested in coming, which is 904-635-4476.
Hey, let's show up and show out to help him and have some Navajo fry bread.
Yeah.
And what are the dates on that again? November
3rd through the 7th or 8th. It's that first full week in November.
Okay, November 3rd through the 7th or 8th. There's Mike's number. Reach out to him. Let him know if you're interested in going out there. And they'll be involved in just helping deconstruct the ship. And then it will go into containers so that it can be moved out to Utah. And so it can be deconstructed pretty fast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It takes about
like a Lego
5 minutes to take each piece off.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
anyone interested in coming and maybe filming, doing a show there, if you want to come and see the deconstruction or even see the ship at its fullest right now, welcome. You're welcome to come join us.
Good point.
I had a great idea. I mean, I think this would be awesome if you did a live stream on, because I know you guys have a channel, and if you had a live stream that you did maybe either periodically or just had ongoing of the deconstruction, it would be quite interesting for folks to watch. Get a lot of attention on
We could do that. We could even do it with you guys if you wanted to. We could.
Okay.
You know, we have great internet there in the building. So
We might just take you up on that, but it'll be because of the Navajo fry bread. I'll tell you that right now. So that's a good reason to be out there. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Listen, this ship is so interesting to me. And I'm excited to get it out here to Utah because I know once it gets to Utah, you have lots of helping hands, people out here, and I'll be amazed if you don't get texts or calls from people that are like, "Hey, I've got a location. Hey, I got something for you." And that was the point of this episode, is one, to make people aware of this ship, but two, let's get it out here to Utah where people are coming in. They can come and see it. They can feel its energy and have an idea of what Nephi's ship may have looked like. And certainly we now know that this ship traveled a certain course and landed, of course, here in North America. So that's a good testament that's how they got here.
and
I also go ahead.
just as a side note, it landed on the East Coast, and it could have once it hit the Americas, it could have went northeast, north or south, and we could have went anywhere in the
On the
Gulf of America. It could have went anywhere in there. So it's amazing on how that water just pushes over to America.
Yeah, it's also go ahead.
Shay, sorry.
Yeah.
Our people call the water of Atlantic the holy waters. Isn't that
Interesting? Yeah, because that's the waters they were.
Those waters, you know.
Yeah, they're traveling on the holy waters to get to the promised land, and I think I was a little bit naive in thinking for my whole life that maybe it was just those in the Book of Mormon that have traveled, but it sounds like the Phoenicians were well known. As I've kind of studied this, they were travelers. They built ships, and so it wasn't like Nephi had never seen a ship before. He probably knew of these Phoenicians and knew that they were building these kinds of ships, and that this travel had been happening, and so he probably had that information and knew kind of where to set sail from, because he was probably talking to other people, and we're a little naive to think that he wouldn't have known, at least while he might not have known how to build the ship, he probably got good instruction, certainly from God, but also from other people that had maybe traversed those waters.
Sure. It's interesting about the church video of the ship that Nephi built, how it was a double rudder system. And that's exactly what the Phoenicia is. It's a double rudder system.
Interesting. And this guy, again, didn't even know what he was doing, yet here he constructed it. And that tells you the Spirit is working in such a magnificent way that oftentimes I wonder, do we even understand that? I was out at the Syracuse Temple and I was looking at the day that, and I was talking to somebody yesterday and looking at the day it was dedicated. And this gal yesterday was like, did you know that was on the day of Pentecost? And I'm like, I wonder if they knew that, or it's just the way the Lord works in his timing of things, because he just knows how to make things happen on these, in these particular ways and on these particular dates. And certainly is the case with this guy that's building the ship in the manner that Nephi would have built the ship, yet he knew nothing of Nephi. And that's how powerful that the Spirit is and the Spirit works. Well, this is
amazing. Totally amazing.
This is so awesome. And Mike and Betty, I know you guys have a lot of other really cool things going on outside of the ship. We're going to save that for another episode, because first we need to get the boat to Utah. So instead of the boat going from the old Jerusalem to America, we need to figure out how we're going to get it by crate to Utah. We got to have a place for it to go. So if you know somebody, if you are somebody, reach out. Let's put this out there. Let's cast this net and let's get that ship here. And I'm really excited when it does to be involved in the reconstruction of it here. And I want to see it for myself. Betty, what do you got? You got something on the tip of your tongue, I feel like.
I just wanted to leave you with my testimony of the Lord's work and his hand in every facets of our lives, which is a genuine spiritual experience that all of us, I'm sure, have had in our lives. But with this ship particularly, with the wood that floats, it's just amazing what we have learned and how people have come together, and where mending aching hearts become mended once they're together. And it's just like the pieces of the ship being brought together, and the people doing that, and their feelings that they get. We get a lot of we get women, husbands and wives coming, and the wives, they're just so connected. They're up there with the ship. They're had tools in their hands. They're scraping, they're scrubbing, they're doing everything, and they're working so hard because they feel that spirit of the ship.
Yeah.
Almost like a testimony, of the Book of Mormon, that the ship, the sea travel happened, that it happened, that it really did.
Yeah.
And that this Captain Philip Bill had no idea of this story of the Book of Mormon. And here he is doing this shit, making these, sails to America.
Yeah.
And we're excited about that. We're excited for other people to get that same feeling. And like you said, Shane, wood has spirit. Everything that the Lord has created has spirit.
Amen.
And that spirit can touch us in so many ways. And the most powerful way is the spiritual way.
Yeah.
The spirit of truth. And that's the wood. This wood that floats is the spirit of truth.
Yeah. And one other interesting thing, kind of like the Black Hills was a neutral ground for the Native Americans to meet. The Phoenicia, we have people coming from the organized church, from independents working on it. We have Amish, we have Mennonites, we have non-members, we have members, and they're all drawn to the ship for that reason. It's kind of like neutral ground. Everybody gets together, and it's a beautiful thing.
That's a cool thing. And we need to do more of that. As Zion gets created, we are going to become of one heart and one mind. And
exactly.
One of the things that I've found in becoming of one heart and one mind is serving alongside others. There's something about that. There's something when you're serving with others on a common goal. And the common goal here is, rebuilding the Phoenicia. What a great common goal to come together under. To rebuild a ship that, is like unto the ship Nephi may have constructed, 600 years before Christ came. So Mike and Betty, thank you so much for coming on. I'm excited to have you guys back on here talking about some of the other cool projects you guys are involved in. You guys are like on the cutting edge of some of the coolest things as it relates to the Native Americans and their beautiful history And I'm just really excited about that. Mike, you look a lot like my own father who raised me. He's an urban Indian as well. Trust me, he's playing golf right now at Entrada. So he's definitely an urban Indian. He's from the Wampanoag tribe. And I had to help him know that. Like, that's how urban this guy is. I had to go do his own history and help him understand kind of where his lines come from. So I'm grateful to be adopted into that family and have that heritage. And it's just such a beautiful thing.
That's awesome.
Certainly
We're
there's
cousins.
there's no doubt in my mind that those that are of Native American descent are from the house of Israel. There's no doubt in my mind. It's 100%. And I can tell you this, when I met with Mike and Betty in person, I could feel of their spirit. And it's a very strong, powerful spirit that this couple shares. And it was such a beautiful thing for me to meet them and feel of their spirit and their love of the Lord. And so I'm grateful for them, grateful that you guys are able, and I'm grateful that I get to try and help out with this project using our platform here at Zion.
Well, we really appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
What a blessing. Trust me, you're going to get hit up by a lot of people. I know, because I get hit up by, but it's a beautiful thing. And it's how we gather. Let's let this be part of the gathering, right? Let's gather under different things that we get to do with one another as Zion rises. So thank you guys both again for coming on. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Hey, if you like this video, go ahead and smash that like button. And if you can help in any way, or you know somebody, let's show people what Zion can do through Zion Media. Let's be a part of this strange work by figuring out how we can help Mike and Betty, their foundation, get this ship in a position so it can go to a place here in Utah, and so that we can reconstruct it here in Utah. So please, if the Spirit has prompted you, reach out. Let's see what we can do here. We'll try and get this episode out early so that people can go ahead and respond and prepare to hopefully come out there to Montrose to help you guys out. There it is again.
That'll be awesome.
Thank you, Shane.
We do have one sponsor who's chipped in to help ship
Yes.
move his Cardio Miracle. It's a product. Actually, we have them on our website, Phoenicia.rocks. It helps with high blood pressure. It helps with your cardiovascular. It helps with the oxygen. My wife, she's Navajo, and that, as you know, some of these natives have problems with high blood pressure,
Diabetes.
and she was borderline taking some of this high blood pressure mess. I don't know if you've ever read the
Side effect.
side effects. Is like,
Yeah.
are you
Horrible.
kidding me? Why am I taking this pill, for heaven's sakes? But she's been on this for 2 weeks now, and her medication and her levels are doing really well.
The name of it is Miracle.
Cardio Miracle.
Cardio Miracle. Well, it's working. The miracle is happening.
Yeah, it's
Well,
amazing.
I might need to get me some Cardio Miracle. I've been doing some cardio, hoping on a miracle to get my fat butt in shape. So I'm gonna go get me some Cardio Miracle, because I need a Cardio Miracle right about now.
Yeah.
Trying to terrestrialize this body is harder than I thought it would be, but I'm doing my best, and maybe Cardio Miracle can help me get there. So go check it out.
definitely
Cardio
can.
Miracle. Is it cardiomiracle.com? Is that how, or is it just on your website?
We actually are going to be selling it on our site. So if you come to the Phoenicia.rocks and buy it there, we get a little bit of
a discount.
kickback on that. You get a discount, we get a little bit too. So anyway.
Go to their website, buy it at their website. So thank you again, Mike. Like I said, go ahead and smash the like button, share this video. Let's get involved. Let's bring the Phoenicia to Utah, and let's find a home for it. So if you've got a home or a place you'd like to have this boat be in your facility, listen, I know there's a bunch of rich people out there that have random 8,000 square foot industrial buildings. I know, Brother McSwain, if you're watching this, I know you have space out there in North Salt Lake. Might be a good place for the Phoenicia to come. Anyways, Really cool. Thank you for coming on and sharing with us a little bit about the Phoenicia, its journey, and kind of the spiritual nature of that ship. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to Zion Media, what are you doing? Subscribe so you can be up to date on all the cool things coming out. We're doing a ton of shorts. If you haven't checked out our shorts, go check them out. We try to do things, and I'm involving lots of people that I'm interacting with. There it is, PhoeniciaRocks.com. Go visit that site. But check out our shorts. We're trying to do the best job we can to share the gospel of Jesus Christ in the strangest way possible, and that's right, through social media. And I'm grateful for the opportunity that we have to do that. Again, I'm grateful for the testimony that Mike and Betty LaFontaine share in their spirit. So thank you again for coming on. For myself, I'm Shane Baldwin. For David, the Leo, the Lion, Douglas, Andrea, the Bomb, we'll see you guys all next time.
For Israel.
Amen.
Thank you.